All right. So, what are Z scores? Z scores are a way for the clinician to be able to determine whether a value of the echocardiogram is normal. And so, when we look at echocardiography, in adult echo, there are different values for men and different values for women, and those are, variable within a range, but they're pretty standard for an adult echo. But when you start to get into pediatrics and into fetal echo, those ranges are highly variable based on age and based on the different populations. And so, it's hard to have just a set range that this is what your normal value should be all the time. So, Z scores were created as a method to be able to determine what is normal and what is not. And so when we look at a Z score, basically we're looking at the formula that gives us our measured value minus the mean value divided by the standard deviation. So what does that mean? Basically, the measured value is the actual dimension of the fetal heart structure that we're looking at within our echo exam. And so if we're measuring the aorta or the pulmonary artery, we take that measurement and we subtract the mean value for that particular age range, right? So if it's pediatric echo, we'd be looking at the age range for that in pediatrics. If it's fetal echo, we would be looking at that and comparing it to the expected value for that particular gestational age. And what that allows us to do is then we take that, we divide it by the normal variability that is determined based on our Z scores. And there's tables and charts that have been published by the Fetal Heart Society to look at what is the normal variability within that patient population. And so then we get a value. And the value of 0 means that the measurement is actually at that population mean. And so that's a normal value. But if we have a value that is +2 or higher for a Z score, then that means that tells us that the structure that we're looking at is actually larger than what we would expect it to be at that age range. And so then it's above the 95th percentile. And then if it's -2 or lower, then that tells us that the structure we're evaluating is actually smaller than expected or below the 5th percentile. So again, Z scores are just a way to be able to take those measurements that we're obtaining during our echocardiography exam and give meaning and value to them. Because again, every patient is different. We have variable gestational ages. And, what you would measure in a 20-week echo will be highly variable from what you would measure at 36 weeks, just as you would expect with a pediatric population. The value of the aortic arch in a 1-year-old will be very different than the value of an aortic arch in a 10-year-old patient. And so this gives us the ability to take that and standardize it and actually look at that standard deviation to determine what's normal and what's not normal and be able to bring value to our echo reports.